Hello everyone, in this tutorial we'll see how to create this really nice mosaic effect from scratch using Adobe Photoshop. But before we're gonna do that, make sure to subscribe and comment and leave a like. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, so for us to make a mosaic effect, we need pictures like these ones. In here I have 64 images. So you need like 64 or 49, 36, 25, like 5 by 5, 6 by 6, 7 by 7, 10 by 10, it will be 100. For you to have like a column and row to align exactly with the Photoshop tool that we are going to use to be aligned perfectly. Alright, now for me I have 64 images and I recommend for you to use like 64 plus or 49 plus, because the lower you go, the more images it will start to look like it repeated itself. I would recommend to go like 100. It's very nice, but for this tutorial I will stick with 64. Alright, now for us to use these images, first we need to actually crop these images to be with the same size. As you can see now, we have different sizes for each image. So let's pretend this is your images, or like the collection of the photos that you have. So the best that will work for you is to crop them by yourself, but it will be easier than it sounds. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So I will jump to Photoshop and then I will create a new document by going to File, New, and I want a square image. So let's put like 2000 pixels for the width and 2000 for the height. And in the resolution I will change it to 72. And I will keep everything in here is the same, RGB 8-bit. And I will press OK. Alright, as you can see, we have a square image and we're gonna follow this square, let's say, template to crop our image. I'm sure there are a lot of actions or scripts that you can use to auto crop your image, but the problem with those scripts or actions is like they make a selection of the subject, and this way they will base the way that they crop the image. Sometimes there are some images that they don't have a clear subject to select, and it can create a problem. For me, I like to do it like this, and this way I can control where to crop and everything. Alright, so let's create a new layer and let's delete this one. Add this layer just to have it in here without having the one that was locked. Alright, so I will go back to my folder and then I'm gonna press Ctrl or Command A, or you can just select everything by your cursor like that. But I prefer to press Ctrl Command A to make sure that everything is selected. As you can see, we have 64 items selected. Alright, now we just drag everything in here to this document that we just created. And as you can see, we're gonna basically crop every image like this. It sounds a little bit harder to do, but it's actually very easy than it sounds. And like that, and I will just one click on this check mark. And the second one will open by itself like this. And I will just crop it, very easy. And again, one click on this check mark, and there we go. The third image, it will open by itself. And I will keep going like this. Alright, as you can see, I have all of them 64 images. Alright, Okay, so all of them are here. Now I know you are thinking maybe, oh my god, this will be saving each image by itself, but no, we're gonna actually save everything at once. So to do that, we can just select the first image, and then I will go down to the last one, and by pressing shift on my keyboard, I will one click on the last image, and this will select all the layers in here. After that, I will go to this icon in here from the layer panel, and I will choose quick or export as, and this will actually allow me to export all the layers that I selected in this dialog in here. As you can see, we have all the images in here, all of them in the right square size, and as you can see, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's actually very easy to do, and you get to control all the images by yourself. Alright, so in here you can actually choose the format that you want to use. You can change it to JPEG. For me, I think I will change it to JPEG, and maybe I will put the scaling, well, let's keep the scaling set to 100, and I will keep everything in here the same. The size, I will keep it to 1x, and you can add a suffix if you want, but for me I won't do that because all these images, they have their own name, so it's okay. Alright, and then after that, it's very important actually to export and choose like a new folder where you're gonna save all of this. So you don't want to save it in the same folder that you kept the pictures. For me, I have a folder that is called Mosaic Effect, and I have one that is called Cropped. So I will just open this folder in here, and I will select it, and this will export all the images to that folder. Alright, now it's finished. Now we can just close this document and tap to save it, and let's go back and check our cropped folder, and as you can see, we have all the images in here cropped and they are ready to use. And as you can see, we have 64 items in here in a square cropped size. Alright, now for us to actually load all these images in Photoshop, we need to go to File and choose Automate, and in here we're gonna choose Contact Sheet, and then we're gonna open it. After that, we're gonna choose the folder that we saved all our cropped image, which is this one, cropped, and I'll press OK. And then I will go to the unit and I will keep it centimeters, and for the width and height I will keep it 21 by 21 because I want it to be square anyway, and the resolution 72. The color profile, you can change it to sRGB, but for me I like the Adobe RGB 1998, 8-bit for the depth. In here you can flatten all layers if you want, but for me I always keep it unchecked because sometimes I want to actually have control with all the layers in here. And in here it's very important to change the columns and the rows. For me I use 64 images, so I'm gonna put 8 by 8 for the columns and the rows. And in here you can choose across first or down first, it doesn't matter for me. And make sure that the auto spacing is set to 0 centimeters for both of them. And the rotate for best fit, you don't have to do that because we have everything in square. Alright, now we'll just press OK, and Photoshop will do the rest. Alright, as you can see, we have all our images in here. We have a white line in here that we can fix in a little bit. So to fix this, we can just crop it. Let me choose it to change it to square. You can actually just crop this one until there is no white space, like that, and that's it. And as you can see, we have all the layers in here with their own layer mask, This can be very useful, for example, if you don't like some image, let's say this one, the first one, the car, you wanted to make it even bigger, you can select the layer and unlink the link between layer mask and the layer, and then press Ctrl Command T, and you can make it bigger and move it like that, and then press enter, and this way you can have a little bit of control of what you see in here. But for me, I think I'm happy with everything that it looks like this, so I will just merge everything by going to layer and choose merge visible, and this way we have everything in here merged, and now we can save it as a pattern. And to do that, I'm gonna press Ctrl Command A to select the canvas, and then I will go to edit and choose defined pattern, and I will keep the name set to contact sheet. Let's name it to, let's change this to 64. Alright, and I will press OK. Alright, now we can close this by pressing Ctrl W or Command W, and then I will go back to my folder and I will open the image that I want to use, which is this one. And now we're gonna see how to use this pattern, or how to use this mosaic effect on a real image. Alright, so the first I'm going to do is to crop this. So I will go to the crop tool and let's change the ratio to 16:9, and let me see, maybe something like this. Maybe make it a little bit smaller to focus on the features in here. Alright, something like this, it will look very nice, and I will want to click on this check mark. Alright, now we have the image ready to be used. I will go to this adjustment icon and I will choose pattern, and I will open the patterns in here. I have a lot, and this one that we just created, it's 64, and then I will actually take down the scaling to whatever you're liking. For me, I think I will take it around 40 or 30. Let's actually change it to 30 and see. Alright, now we have it in here. Now we'll change the blending mode of this pattern to overlay, and as you can see, we have a kind of mosaic effect, but we're still gonna do some adjustment to this. So the first thing that I want to, that I always do, is to actually duplicate the main image by pressing, or by selecting the image first and then pressing Ctrl Command J, and then take it on top. And after that, I'm gonna press Alt or Option on my keyboard, and I will want to click on this layer mask, and this will add the black layer mask in here. Alright, now I'm gonna press B for brushes, and using white as my foreground color. If you don't have white, you can just press D to change the color to default, and then you will have white as your foreground color. For the opacity, I will go like 30% opacity with 50% flow, and I will start painting just a little bit to where the eyes, just to make some features visible from the faces, like that, but not that much. You can just be a little bit subtle with it. As you can see, the images are still there, just like to make the image look visible from far. As you can see, now it looks very different. Maybe I will drop down the opacity a little bit to like 70%, and this way we have a really nice, like the features are actually visible than they were before. Alright, now I will add a level adjustment again. Go into the adjustment icon and choose levels, and I will go to the red, and I will put a little bit of red in here just to add that photography kind of Instagram filter. After that, I will go to the blue channel and play with the dark and the white tones of the colors, just like that. Alright, I mean, if you think like the images they are looking a little bit too big, you can always go back to the pattern, double click on it to open the pattern in here and change the scale into your liking. For example, I think I will go even a little bit smaller, like 25%. Yeah, let me see, like let's go like 26 or 27%. Yeah, let's keep it 25 for now, and you can always go back and change this if you want, but I think like this it will look fine. Make sure that the eyes are a little bit visible. It's a way to cheat a little bit with this effect. Alright, I think I'm happy with this. The other thing that I want to use is to actually make another duplicate of the original image by pressing Ctrl Command J, and make sure that you are selecting the image, and then I will take this copy and put it on top, and I will call this black and white. After that I will change it to black and white by pressing Ctrl Shift or Command Shift U, and this will desaturate it. After that I will change the blending mode to soft light, but I will actually open the blending option by double click on this layer, or you can just go to this FX icon and choose blending options, and then I will go to the blend if option in here, and instead of using underline layer I will use this layer, and I will press Alt or Option, and I will split the black in here to make like a smooth transition from the black and the white in here. Maybe I will put it to 0-120, and as you can see it's not as strong now, and the features they look more visible than before. Yeah, I think they look much better now, of course with this layer in here. Alright, I think I'm very happy with this now. It looks so different than it was before. Alright, now I'm gonna make a stem visible layer. So by selecting the first, in this case the level adjustment, I'm gonna press Ctrl Shift Alt E or Command Shift Option E, and this will make a stem visible layer, and let's call this blur. And then I'm gonna press Q on my keyboard, and using the same brush, as you can see I have 40% opacity, 50% flow, and using black as my foreground color this time by pressing X to switch between black and white. I will paint like this. This actually allow you to paint the selection as a brush, so this way you can control very good where you want to add, for this case to add the blur. So I want to add the blur on all this outside area that we have in here, maybe a little bit in the edges, but not as strong. So this way it's very good to use a brush, so you can control the strength of the selection. So I will just make sure that to select this part too. That's a little bit. And the good thing about this, I can always go back and delete from this selection using a brush, the same way I did for to make the selection. Alright, to delete a little bit from the selection I can just press X, and this will change the foreground color to white, and I can just delete from the features just in case I overbrush it. Alright, I think it will be fine. Now I'm gonna press Q back again in my keyboard, and then I'm gonna press Ctrl Shift I or Command Shift I, and this will actually invert the selection. And now we're gonna go to Filter, Blur, and I will choose Lens Blur. Alright, as you can see we have our blurring here set only for the background, and here you can control the radius. And by the way, I have the shape set to hexagon and everything in here set to 0, 0, 0 and only the threshold to 255. I have the distribution set to uniform. Alright, so let's actually play with the radius a little bit. So let's put it 0 and then put it a little bit up to around 14. I don't want it to be that strong. And maybe like 10 or 12 radius, and I'll press OK. And then I'm gonna press Ctrl Command D to deselect, and let's see before and after. This is before and this is after. As you can see, it adds a lot of difference and it looks amazing. Alright, now the last thing that we are going to do is to actually add a vignette and maybe add a little bit of grain in the camera raw. So to do that, I'm gonna actually right click and choose convert to smart objects, the same layer that we call it blur. I change it to smart object, and then I will go to filter and I will choose camera raw filter. Alright, so I'm not gonna mess anything with the exposure, even that it's actually very hard not to, but for this one I will keep it like this. And I will go directly to effect. Maybe I will add a little bit of texture and a little bit of clarity, like that. And then I will add a vignette, something like that, to focus on the couple. And like 5 grain or 6. And let's see before and after. And maybe more vignette. Maybe play the highlights a little bit, the midpoint, something like that. Alright, I think I'm happy with this and I will press OK. And as you can see, it looks very different now. And one more thing that we probably going to add is a little bit of sharpening. So I will go to filter and choose sharpen, and I will add sharpen. And let's see before and after. Maybe another one, sharpen. Yeah, I think it looks nice. Let's see before and after. This is before and this is after. Alright, and that will be all. So I hope that you enjoy and you like this tutorial, and it will be a little bit helpful for you. If you enjoyed this video and you found it a little bit helpful, please make sure to subscribe and comment and leave a like, and have a nice day. Thank you for watching.